citizens of Japan. I am Shibuya Sakura.
I am Yoshida Ichigo. And you are watching Inside Japan, the world news where we bring the world to you.
It is December 8, 1941, and our top news story deals with Japan and a surprise attack against its enemy. But before that, let's go back to the past to get a better view of Japan during World War II. During the 1930s, our military established almost complete control over the government.
After our Kwantung army struggled to occupy Manchuria, or Manchukuo, China, we declared an independent state controlled by the Kwantung Army, and we bombarded Shanghai in order to protect Japanese residents from anti-Japanese movements. 8 years ago, we withdrew from the League of Nations because we were heavily criticized for our actions in China.
Our Japanese forces succeeded in occupying almost the whole coast of China and committed severe war atrocities on the Chinese population. 5 years ago, we occupied French Indochina, or Vietnam, upon agreement with the French Vichy government, and joined Axis powers, Germany and Italy. These actions intensified our conflict with the United States and Great Britain, which reacted with an oil boycott. The resulting oil shortage and failures to solve the conflict diplomatically made us decide to capture the oil-rich Dutch East Indies, or Indonesia, and to start a war with the U.S. and Great Britain.
Earlier this morning, Japan attacked American naval base at Pearl Harbor near Honolulu, Hawaii. Hundreds of Japanese bombers in 2 waves flew across the island of Oahu and targeted the naval air station located there. Now, Kasumo will tell you more.
Here we have a map of Pearl Harbor and Ford Island. The major U.S. naval units are located all around Ford Island. Some of the ships include USS California, Oklahoma, Arizona, and West Virginia. Here is a map of Oahu. The Japan's first wave came at 7:40 a.m. and flew down to the southern portion to the island of where Pearl Harbor is located. They bombed mostly Ford Island's Naval Air Station and Hickam Field. They did this twice in the first wave. The second wave came an hour later at 8:40 a.m., also flying down to the southern portion. They bombed Hickam Field once again, and also on the coast they have a few more air stations.
Thank you, Kazumi. Now we will show live footage of what happened during the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
December 7th, 1941, a day of infamy. Even as Japanese diplomats were conferring with Secretary of State Hull on peace measures, Nipponese planes were swooping down on Pearl Harbor. This pictorial record includes both U.S. films and pictures made by the enemy as they dropped their load of death on the naval base, on Wheeler Field, on civilian homes and schools. 100 Japanese planes and a number of midget submarines took part in the attack. In an hour and 5 minutes, the battleship Arizona was completely destroyed and 4 others severely damaged. 3 other battleships and 3 cruisers suffered lesser damage. Nearly 200 planes were destroyed. In that Sunday morning inferno, the Pacific Fleet appeared to be completely immobilized by the sneak attack. Nearly 3,000 casualties added to the catastrophe.
Japan showed aggressive passion to keep our enemy from interfering with the militaristic conquests.
Hi.
Now we will have a quick break, so enjoy the following commercial.
Hello, people of Japan. We have a bit of a situation on our hands. We have Winston Churchill and Teddy Roosevelt from both Britain and the US going against Japanese people, our people, your people. And they are killing basically an entire Japanese generation. So our generation will be skipped. So let's hear what you really think about it.
Take a stand for your nation.
Fight today.
Enlist in the army. Welcome back to Inside Japan. For a better understanding of this surprise attack, Yamamoto Isoroku, the general of Kwantung Army, was interviewed. And here it is.
Konnichiwa, Mr. Yamamoto.
Konnichiwa.
Mr. Yamamoto Isoroku, what is your opinion on the war between Japan and U.S.?
Well, when we first went to war with England, I thought in the first 6 months of this war with the United States and England, I will run wild after victory after victory.
I see. And what about your thoughts on successful bombardment of the base of Pearl Harbor?
It was a wonderful success, and I won't lie, I didn't expect this to go as well as it did. It went as smoothly as any military officer could ever ask for. We attacked Pearl Harbor for the good of our own people. We needed to keep the U.S. in check in order to keep them from interfering with our own militaristic actions.
And what do you think U.S. will do now that they're in destruction and they want to have revenge?
I'm sure at some point after the U.S. recovers from its shock, they will try to retaliate. Of course, their army is a weak attempt to ours.
What are you going to do for Japan if U.S. wants to have revenge?
I will use the power of the great Kwatong army to make sure that the puny U.S. army can't harm Japanese citizens.
Do you think you caused a bigger problem between Japan and U.S., or just wanted to show U.S. what Japan can do?
No, I believe that I helped Japan. That the plan for the attack on Pearl Harbor was to make sure the U.S. stayed where they are. They do not need to intervene with our actions.
And what did Hideki Tojo have to do, the Prime Minister of our country, Japan, what did he have to do with this Pearl Harbor attack?
Well, as you know, earlier our relationships with the U.S. and Japan weren't doing so well. And actually, I wasn't too sure about war. But now, after I have been ordered to attack on Pearl Harbor, and now I've seen the success, I completely agree with this idea from Hideki Tojo.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's all for now. And for more updates, go to InsideJapan.com.
Good night.